The toolkit for your bike is a little bit like the first aid kit. You hope you never ever need it, but if you need it, you hope you have all the parts and all the pieces in the kit. If you go on a trip, you have to bring your own toolkit just in order to take off the wheel in order to patch a flat or change the tube, because those tools are not included in the kit. The other part is that all the wrenches that are included in the kit, they're just two-sided, and it's always better to use a six-sided wrench, 6 or 12, in order to reduce the torque on the head of the bolt, because then there's less of a chance of rounding the bolt head. And when you're out in the middle of nowhere and it's raining or whatever and you have to loosen the bolt in order to do something, the less frustration you have, the better it is. A toolkit should always be evolving, so you should always replace parts that don't really function 100% with something that's better, and always buy quality tools. You don't want to stay out in the middle of nowhere again in rain or freezing weather having tools that doesn't really work because you saved a couple of dollars. Since I took the picture of the toolkit, I've already ordered a couple of more tools that will replace some of the ones in the kit. And that's just part of the process. Depending on where you live or where you ride, fixing a flat is probably one of the first problems you'll encounter. So a good set of tire tools, patches, a tire compressor, etc. is probably one of the most important tools. The BeadPro bead breakers, they're okay to break the bead, but they're not all that good to use as a tire spoon, because the opposite end of the spoon is too pointed. So you have to use a set of like leather gloves or something in order to use them. So having 3 of the tire spoon with a blue handle that's just above the BeadPro tool is a way better option, and also a less expensive option. And the weight difference is not all that great either. The rim protectors, they work pretty good in order to avoid scratching the rim when you're unmounting the tire. The bead body, I have a couple of pieces of wood that I use instead, and I think they work just as well. The tire compressor is pretty good. It's kind of lightweight because you don't have the shroud around it. And in the upper left hand corner is the tire paste. It is not as important when you're mounting tubed tires, but because it provides kind of lubricant, it makes it a little bit easier to take on and off tires. You should never ever use soap and water, because the soap contains lye, and lye is a corrosive, and if you have aluminum rims, if you're using soap and water, the rim will start corroding and you might get a small leak. If you have a tube in it, it's not the end of the world, but if you have a tubeless tire, it's not too fun when you're out on the road and the air is just slowly but surely leaking out. So do not use soap and water. The typical tire core valve remover that you pick up at your local parts store, Walmart or whatever, it's a way better tool and also less expensive than the Motion Pro tool. Because the Motion Pro tool, the little slot is too narrow, so you don't get a good grip on the valve. Also on the tool picture to the right, you have little pins so you can let the air out of your tire by depressing the little valve core before you remove the valve core. Because if you just remove it while you have a lot of pressure, it's easy for the little valve core to pop away, and if you're in the middle of nowhere and don't have a spare valve, you're a little stranded. So in other words, expensive tools are not always good tools. There's a lot of junk out there. Modern bikes do not have kickstarts anymore, so having a little lithium-ion jump starter, that's a big saver. Especially if you're in a flat area. If you're in a hilly country like in Norway, then it's not as necessary unless you're at the bottom of a hill. This little battery booster also has a secondary function, and that is because it has a USB port on it, so I can charge all the camera gear and all the other batteries, phones, etc. when I'm camping. A can of WD-40 should have been included in these pictures. I've been stranded before out in the middle of nowhere due to corrosion on the ignition system. Also, once I traced an electrical error on a Harley because the wiring harness two so-called professionals had worked on it before, and they cut the whole thing into pieces. So I had to trace every single wire on the whole bike and rewire, resolder, re-crimp the whole thing. And if you have a wiring diagram in the form of a PDF today on your phone together with the voltmeter, you can fix a lot of stuff. Also, I also keep some electrical tape with me, and also buy a good brand like 3M or something. Paper towels, and especially wet wipes and a good headlamp. Leather gloves, they are good if you have to do a lot of work on tires, and if you're doing camping, building a fire, etc. And a good set of waterproof gloves that you can put in a little Ziploc bag and use when you do chain maintenance. That makes a big difference on your kit. On the Ténéré 700, there's a lot of Allen bolts. They're about 4mm for your seat and for handlebar controls, 5mm for the bar end bolts, and 6mm for the handlebar clamps. And in my case, I have a GPS holder that uses 3mm, and my cell phone holder uses 2mm. So you need a pretty wide variety. In order to tighten down, especially the handlebar clamps, you need the longer Allen wrenches. Just having a little bit for your screwdriver, that's not going to give you enough torque. In an early iteration of the toolkit, I tried using the stubby wrenches, but you don't really get enough leverage. So it's kind of just a pain to use them, especially the larger sizes like 17mm for the oil drain plug. The 3/8 to 1/2 inch adapter, that's I can use the ratchet for the oil filter wrench. The T50 Torx, that's for the foot pegs. The 8mm is for some of the controls up at the handlebar, and the 10mm, that's for the front axle pinch bolts and some other bolts, I think the skid plate. The 12mm, that's for the front brake caliper bolts. You have 4 of those. I use 13 on the luggage rack I've installed, and there's 14mm on the center stand and some other places. The 17 is for the engine oil plug, and the one all the way in the bottom is a 27mm, and that's for the rear axle nut. But since I have the rally raid tool, I could weed out some of these sockets. I always try to avoid using two-sided wrenches, because if you use a 6-sided, then you could cut the stress on the bolt head down to 1/3 per flange or per side. But sometimes you don't have the right size, so sometimes you have to use a two-sided, and that's the reason why I have the adjustable wrenches included. Also, the reason I still have the socket set is because some of the bolts, they are recessed and you can't really get to them very well with an open end box wrench. The chain tool I have is a D.I.D. It can both break the rivet and flare it back together again, but you need a 27mm hex, which I have in the form of the rally raid tool, and it needs 19mm, which I had to add to my socket set in order to use it. It is a pretty heavy duty chain tool, and it's well worth having it in your kit. The oil filter uses a 64mm socket in order to screw it back on, and that's the same size as on Lexus, Scion and Toyota. The shiny oil filter wrench, that is the original Yamaha. The right hand side is an aftermarket pressed zinc that I picked up at the local Walmart, and the left hand uses a 17mm socket, the same as on the oil filter drain plug. The right hand is a 27mm hex, and that is the same as the rear wheel axle nut. So in either case you should be covered, you should have that size in your kit. The rally raid is a 27mm. The Yamaha is made out of steel that's plated, and the right hand side is made out of pressed zinc, and it's quite a bit lighter. Having a good set of screwdriver bits can be a blessing, especially if you go camping and you have some equipment that needs tending. If you buy a set of bits, always buy where the kit where the flat bits are hollow ground. I'm a big fan of Vise-Grip Pliers. They always come in handy. And the needle nose pliers to the right you will need when you work on your brake pads, and they're actually inexpensive Walmart pliers. Unlike the pair of pliers in the middle that I'll probably replace with a different style that are actually made in Germany. So you don't always have to shell out big bucks for good tools or for decent tools. A good sharpened knife is a good thing to have. A folding knife like this I'm pretty happy with, and they're fairly inexpensive nowadays. The majority of the tools are in this roll-up pouch, but some of the other items such as the jump starting battery, the chain tool, etc., they're in their own little boxes or pouches. Yes, I know, I have a little bit too many tools in my kit. I love tools and I love quality tools, so that's part of the reason. I might get rid of the ratcheting wrench and all the little sockets, and that's probably about it. The other part is that when you do regular maintenance on your motorcycle at home, always try to use the tools in your kit just to see that the tools are functioning pretty well and you get familiarized with them, so that when you're out on the road you don't really have to fight the tools. If you have a long trip plan, just spend a couple of nights or a day or something and do preventative maintenance, that you double check the brake pad thickness, tire thread depth, change the oil if it's getting close to end of life, etc. Just so you don't have to do any of those things while you're on the trip, or you have to stop at a dealer along the way and your buddies have to wait on you. It's a lot easier to do all that stuff at the comfort of your home or garage or shop or whatever than it is to do it on the side of the road, especially if the weather is not cooperating. Good luck in finding your own toolkit. Have a safe ride. Please subscribe. More videos to follow.